Alrighty, guys. So, hold on one second here. There's two of me in a second, two of me, and one of me. Alright. We're going to be playing the Stanley Parable again today. Hold on one sec. You might hear this. I'm going to move my microphone. I don't know if you guys can hear that or not when I move my microphone there. Hold on. You know what? I'm actually going to mute for a second because I have to readjust my microphone. Alright, there we go. So, yeah, we're playing the Stanley Parable again. And I was told last week that I should be ready to be recording when I start the game up, because apparently something happens. I don't know if it's what we saw last week or if it's something different. We're going to find out. Do I sound alright? Does all the volume sound good? We'll continue that as we go into the game here in just a minute. I'm going to get things ready. Hold on one second here. All right. Something new happens when you start the game up, I believe, every time. Oh, okay. Interesting. Okay. My friend Cooper just texted me, and he knows that my phone says objection when I get a text, and so he just texted me the word objection. He's in the chat too. I have the Phoenix Wright objection sound effect as my notification sound. Alright. Also, real quick, if I sound off or if I cough, my sinuses have been going completely nuts for the last week or so. So, you know. It's been the whole 9 yards. This is a regular occurrence this time of year. It is spring and my allergies are going nuts. Also, for some reason, when I do stuff in the mornings, I can't get something about the lighting with, like, because the sun is shining right in there, and this is the best I can get it. It'll start to look better in here as the day goes on and the sun comes up, but it's just right in the mornings. The sun is shining right in this window, and it causes like issues when I'm trying to record stuff. It's nice when you actually want the window open, but if you're trying to like do stuff with a camera, not good. Anyway, it's 10 o'clock, so I'm gonna actually, you know what? I'm gonna be right back. I will be back in just 1 second. All right. Also, real quick, it's almost June, and while E3 was canceled this year, Nintendo's probably still gonna be doing something. You know, they do stuff every summer, and it makes sense that they would still do something in June, even though E3 is not happening. They probably were, you know, anticipating doing one. So, we might be getting a Nintendo Direct in the next few weeks. Obviously, there's no real proof of that other than past patterns. But I think there's a very, very good chance. Just, you know, I mean, they did one in, what was it, January or February? And they tend to do one in January or February every year. So, I mean, they're continuing their pattern. So I think they're probably going to do a Nintendo Direct in June. Usually early to mid-June. So I will definitely be streaming that if it happens. Probably when it happens. I'm actually considering making a video discussing predictions for that. So maybe keep an eye out for that on the YouTube channel if I decide to do it. Because I have like a whole list me and my brother made up of like stuff. And so I might just make it based on that. I think I'll probably end up doing it. It'll probably come out in like the next week. Anyway, I've put this off long enough. Let's do this. Let me start up the Stanley Parable and we will start playing it. And we'll see what else is new with the the reassurance bucket. Hold on, it's loading up. Here we go. It's doing something. Alright, is it going to do something different this time? And y'all can hear me fine, right? Okay, the fact that it asks me this every time I turn it on, because it asked me this last time too, that's really weird. It's 10:03, and I'll just put it at 10:04. That it's asking me that again. Hang on, hang on. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. Never mind, okay. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock and set it at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. Since you've been so cooperative, next time you boot up the game and see this screen, just set the clock to your favorite time. Go ahead, pick whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. Okay, that's good. Okay, that makes more sense now. Now we're starting to understand why that's there. So at some point, I really need to try it with not entering anything and just leaving it at 12. We're going to try that at some point. Also, it's still the Stanley Parable 2. So here we go, the Stanley Parable 2. Let me just real quick make sure everything is good to go. Everybody can hear me fine. My voice isn't too quiet compared to the game. I'm looking at it, it doesn't look like it is. If I'm too quiet, let me know. And no, if you have to turn up the volume all the way up, I'm too quiet. I've had issues with that before.
This is the story.
Let's see if
of a
this is
man
any
named
different.
Stanley.
I'm curious.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's
It's the balloons.
job was simple. He sat at his desk
Yep,
in
okay.
room 427.
That's a good start.
And he pushed buttons on the keyboard. Orders came to him through
Very
a
good
monitor
start.
on his desk, telling him what buttons to push,
Yeah.
how long to push them.
How long is
and
this?
in what
I think this is
order.
probably going to be.
This is what
mostly the same.
employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened.
The Stanley Parable
Something
2.
that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him
There's the balloons
instructions,
again.
call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, welcome back. We got an achievement. Alright, how much different is it going to be?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Happy
Stanley
12th
decided
birthday,
to go to the
Stephanie's.
meeting room. Perhaps he had
And that's the
simply
one we
missed a
didn't
memo.
pick because he
No
wanted the
matter
other
how
one.
hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Alright, I'm kind of curious. How different is it? Is it going to be different or is it just going to be this? Oh. Oh. Dear God. No. Yep, reassurance bucket time.
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Yes, I did. Let's go, bucket. Oh, this is where the new content was before. Interesting.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be.
The bucket commandeth, and we simply
And here
follow.
it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was
Yes.
this better than the meeting room?
100%.
Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was.
The bucket
How
is
insightful
always
the
correct.
bucket turned out to be.
The bucket is a work of art. It is a holy object.
No, never mind.
Woo! The bucket was wrong. No way.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No, I'm gonna keep. Let's go.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else.
The bucket
The
talks.
cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
The bucket commandeth.
Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
I
It
will
should
not-
have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
I dare not go against the wishes of the bucket.
In here.
Said the bucket.
Go into this dark room over here.
Stanley once again obeyed blindly.
This one? Or is there another one? Because that's not very dark. Ah, this one. Okay, bucket.
Now pick up the phone.
Said the bucket.
Pick up the phone and it will take us back home where we can go about life together.
This is the sad story of a man named Stanley and his
This
bucket.
bucket.
Once upon a time, I
Okay.
gave Stanley a bucket because I thought he was lonely and could use a friend. And then, very distressingly, he began to believe the bucket could speak to him.
Oh, we can control. Okay. We don't have the bucket anymore. Oh my god, this is awesome. Alright, hold on. I want to check every corner first. There's a button. 427B. Yo! Hello. Oh, this is our apartment. Hello, Bucket. Hello, Stanley. It's me, your Bucket. Press M to take me to work with you. Okay, Bucket.
The Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket was merely meant to provide the comforting glow of companionship. It doesn't literally talk and give you orders. Whatever Stanley is hearing the bucket say to him is just in his head.
What do I do? Oh, there's the bucket. Hold on, let me shut the door. Oh, I can't shut the door. Press M to take me back home with you. Okay, Bucket.
Lately, I've been concerned about him. Wouldn't you be concerned as well? To see him delusional like this, obsessing over an
We
inanimate
are-
metal object? I want to say something to him, but I don't know how I can convince him. I don't know if he'll listen to me.
We are now the cult of the bucket. Press G to go back to work. Okay.
Oh, I'll try anyway. Stanley, can you hear me? Listen to me. It's just a bucket. It can't think, it can't talk. All it will ever truly do for you is effectively transfer a liquid from one location to a different location.
That's where you're
That's
wrong,
it.
sir.
It doesn't do anything
It
else.
can transport solids as well. You fool, you have underestimated the versatility of the bucket. Don't listen to the loud man. Press F for us to go back home.
You see, he's not listening. He's
Okay,
still
music.
taking orders from the bucket. You know, once upon a time it was me he took orders from. Me he trusted and listened to. Now all he cares about is his awful bucket. This stupid hunk of metal.
Press T to ignore anyone in your life except for me. We are the cult of the bucket.
It's sad, but I suppose he doesn't need me anymore. From now on, he's just going to cling to this bucket, this cold, empty bucket, this sort of shiny bucket.
Oh no.
Well, I'll give it this. The bucket does have a nice shine to it.
Join the cult, man. Join the cult of the bucket. Also, seriously, y'all can't tell me this is just the back rooms. It totally is. Like, this is the back rooms before the back rooms. And obviously the back rooms weren't even a concept back when I first played this. But now that I'm playing this after being like, that awareness of it, this is such a liminal game, you know? Hello, Bucket. You believe I'm real, don't you, Stanley? I do, Bucket.
Yes, I suppose on closer inspection that it doesn't quite look like your average hardware store bucket.
It's quite reassuring,
It's just
isn't
a little
it?
more, what am I trying to say? Sturdier, more capable of transporting liquid.
And solids.
Like it would be better at moving an amount of water from one room to another.
You could put ice in it too, because ice is solid. Press Q to relive the same day with me over and over. This is getting a little Doki Doki Literature Club for my liking. Oh god. Just the bucket. Just bucket.
Oh my God, what am I
Oh my
saying?
god.
Better at carrying water from room to room. It's a bucket. It's literally just a bucket. Why do I feel some need to point out the ways in which it's so much more than just a regular bucket?
Because it's reassuring. It's the reassurance bucket. To go home to work, to home to work, to home. Okay.
Oh no. I'm having feelings. For the bucket. No, 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 no. What's going on? Why do I want to be with the bucket? Hear what the bucket has to say. Do anything it asks. What's wrong with me? I don't understand. Perhaps, if I had the bucket, this would be less confusing. Yes.
It's a very
the
reassuring
bucket could tell me what to do in this troublesome situation. Stanley, give me the bucket. Give it to me. Give me the bucket, Stanley. I need
No.
it. Give it to me now. Give it.
Close
or
your
I'll-
eyes. Go back to work, Stanley. Take that, apparently, my phone. The bucket is your wife. A romantic evening with the bucket.
All of his co-workers were
Oh,
gone.
and we're back
What
here.
could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Hold on, I want to try something else.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over
I'm
him.
gonna disobey the bucket this time.
Stanley
Oh.
clutched the bucket tightly to
Make
his
sure to do
chest
every normal
and
ending. I
entered
just
the
got a
door on his
text.
left. This was not the correct
Hold on, I
way
wanna
to the
see
meeting
something.
room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to
He's saying
be.
objection.
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
No.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley
what I'm
took
gonna
the
do,
door
right?
on his left
I'm gonna
to go
fall
back
off
to
here.
the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to
I
the
could
cargo
fall
lift.
off here.
Good.
Said the bucket.
But I'm gonna go this
Now
way
ride
first.
the lift all the way to the top.
No.
There's something up there I need you to do.
We're gonna go down here.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him.
Wait for
It
it.
should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't
we
talk.
go.
But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact. He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Not today.
No, stop. Look there on the
What?
wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
Oh,
Stanley,
wait, this is
how
it.
did you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless, what if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This
Yeah?
misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not
Perhaps.
addressed quickly and properly.
What is a bucket?
So much of the impact of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Alright, let's find out what a bucket is. What is a bucket?
Now then,
Is this a
I'm going to
bucket?
run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a bucket. Simple enough, right?
Okay, so
This
we gotta
should
do
tell
this
us
twice then.
everything
Get it
we'll
right
ever
and then
need
get
to
it
know
wrong.
about what is or is not a bucket. Okay,
Okay.
let's begin. Item 1.
We'll get
Is
it right
this
first.
A bucket.
This is in fact a bucket.
Incorrect. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Wait, no! What? Okay.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
Yes? No.
Incorrect. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
Okay. Okay, so they're both no's.
Item 3. Is this a bucket?
Third time's the charm. Okay,
Correct.
that one is a bucket.
This is a bucket.
Third's a bucket.
Item 4. Is this a bucket?
Yes! It's a bucket. No.
Are you hallucinating? This is a tractor. It's an enormous machine that tills the earth.
But
That's
it can
what this
transport
gimmick-
liquid.
How on earth did you manage to screw it up? Absolutely incredible.
You
Let's
can
just
transport
move on
liquid
to the
with a
next
tractor. Therefore, it's a bucket. You can put solids in it too.
one. Is this a bucket?
Yes.
Correct. This is a bucket.
Okay. Okay.
Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Yes, it's a bucket.
Trick question. Both. Gotcha.
Okay.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. It should be around here somewhere.
Bucket.
Okay,
Oh.
you and I both know there isn't anything here. And I don't appreciate the implication that nothing is a bucket when we both clearly know that a bucket is something. And
But-
therefore nothing could possibly be something. Unless, in your twisted mind,
The
have you
concept
somehow
of
convinced
nothingness.
yourself that a bucket is nothing? Answer me straight, Stanley. Do you believe that nothing is a bucket?
Nothing is a bucket.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective. What is a bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift.
Now you
Do
can
any
join
of
the
us
cult.
know
Your
what
mind
a
has been
bucket is?
opened.
Am I a bucket?
We are all buckets.
Stanley, I can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with. I'm afraid the bucket is threatening to tear our relationship apart. I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going to erase all buckets from the game entirely. Okay, here we go.
No, the bucket!
What happened? Is everything gone?
Everything's a bucket.
Disappear. Wait, was everything a bucket?
Everything is a
Every
bucket.
single thing in the game was a bucket. My God, I had no idea. How could... Except me. I'm not a bucket after all. And you, Stanley, you're still here. You're not a bucket either. Oh, this is wonderful news. We're not buckets. Yes, I actually feel much more at ease right now. It's delightful to get some clarity on that issue.
Yep.
But it doesn't change the fact that we haven't got a game.
We did
So,
until you decided
tell
to
you
erase
what,
it.
I'll reset everything.
Bring
We'll
the
put back
buckets.
all of the buckets, okay?
Yes.
And we'll know that it's all a bucket. But if you run into anyone else, maybe don't mention that. Who knows what that information might do to a person. All right, here we go.
Everything is bucket. There's a secret location. We'll get to that in a minute. I want to try to get them all right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. The
Grab
confusion
bucket.
and the chaos all seemed to melt away as Stanley embraced the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No,
Perhaps.
never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Don't worry.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Good.
Said the bucket.
Now ride the lift all the way to the top. There's something up there I need you to do.
Stanley did not question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. It should have alarmed him, of course, because buckets can't talk. But Stanley chose not to think about this obvious fact.
Danger everywhere.
He was firmly convinced that the bucket had spoken to him, and he unthinkingly did whatever the bucket asked.
Bucket time.
No, stop. Look there on the wall. You see, there's a sign right there. It says, "No buckets past this point."
Yeah.
Stanley, how could you think it was okay to bring the bucket here? Unless... What if the problem is that you actually don't know what is a bucket and what isn't a bucket? I suppose that would explain a lot about your behavior up to this point. Which, if that's true, well, my goodness, I think we have to do something about it. This misunderstanding could have dire consequences on the entire rest of the game if not addressed quickly and properly.
Yeah, the first two are
So
no's
much
and then
of
it's a
the impact
yes.
of the story is dependent on your understanding of what is and isn't a bucket. Please, step in here for a moment.
Is this a bucket?
Now then, I'm going to run you through some test scenarios, and you'll tell me whether or not the thing I'm showing you is a
Right.
bucket. Simple enough, right? This should tell us everything we'll ever need to know about what is or is not a bucket. Okay, let's begin. Item 1. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a hologram of a bucket, not an actual bucket.
We are bucket masters now.
Item 2. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. It is a 3D printed recreation of a bucket, not an actual
You need to go and
bucket.
say everything isn't a bucket too. We need to do that as well. This
Item
one is a
3.
bucket.
Is this a bucket? Correct. This is a bucket. Item 4. Is this a bucket?
No.
Correct. This is a tractor and not a bucket. To be honest, I just sort of put this one in here as a gimme, but I was starting to get concerned that even this might be too much for you. Thank you for not making me look like an idiot. Okay, next one.
This one is a bucket.
Is this a bucket? Correct.
Yes.
This is a bucket. Item 6. Is this a bucket?
Wait, guys, is this a bucket? Oh no, I don't know. I'm gonna say yes.
Trick
Oh,
question.
that's right. This is the both.
Both.
Okay.
Gotcha.
Okay, yeah.
Item... Wait, hold on. I can't find the next one. Let me see. Should be around here somewhere.
Okay. I'm gonna say no on this one.
Yes. Thank you. There's nothing here. Of course it isn't a bucket. We both know full well that nothing isn't a bucket. Wait, when I say nothing isn't a bucket,
Oh,
that
no.
makes it sound like I'm saying everything
Oh,
is a bucket,
no,
which of
it's
course
the
is
same.
not true. Unless... Is that what you think? Answer me straight, Stanley. Are you trying to tell me that you believe everything is a bucket?
No.
You know what? I'm too confused to even sort it out. I've lost all sense of perspective.
Okay, so this is the
What is a
same.
bucket? What isn't a bucket? Mere moments ago I could answer these questions with confidence. And yet now I'm somewhat adrift. Do any of us know what a bucket is?
What is a
Am
bucket?
I a bucket?
Are
Stanley,
you a
I
bucket?
can't keep doing this. I'm losing myself, and myself was all I ever had to begin with.
All
I'm
right.
afraid the bucket
I'm gonna
is
go
threatening
through
to
this, but
tear
I
our
might just
relationship
reset in a
apart.
sec.
I can't have that. I'm sorry. But I'm going
Jim
to
is the
erase all
bucket.
buckets from the game entirely.
Yep.
Okay, here we go.
Jim is the bucket.
What happened? Is everything gone? Why did everything disappear? Wait, was every...
Yeah, we'll just begin again. Actually, hold on. I'm actually going to be right back in just a moment. The sequel is now paused. Hold on. I'm going to be right back. All right, we are back to the sequel, and I went to my garage and I got this. That's right, we've got one. We've got our very own bucket. Let me take the lid off. I think it's empty. Yeah, this thing was holding birdseed, but we emptied it out recently. I'm just gonna... Hold on. It's a bucket. Dear God. Hold on. Where can I put this? I'm gonna put this... I have a little stool right here. And... Can I boost this thing up somehow? I want the bucket to be visible. Hold on. I've got some old textbooks. Hold on. I can put it on the textbooks. One more, I think, should do it. I got some old coding textbooks here. I'll do one more. I'll do the bigger one here. There we go. This is a bucket. Let's do this. Let's go.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
This is a
Perhaps he
3D
was simply
recreation
Mr.
of a
Memo.
bucket, not an actual bucket. No, I can confirm. This thing's made of pure metal. It is, in fact, a bucket. No, wait, crap. No, wait. I gotta grab bucket. And then we gotta fall.
Warmth spread through Stanley's arms. With the
gotta
bucket
do
in his
it.
arms again, he was home.
He was home.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his... This was not the correct way to the meeting room. But
Lead
Stanley
us,
had
bucket.
felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct?
We're gonna fall to our death this
never
time.
mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door.
It's not a paint bucket, therefore it's not a true bucket. I beg to differ. This bucket can transport liquid. Therefore, it is a bucket. Hold on, let me
No.
check.
said
Yeah,
the bucket.
that can transport
Don't
liquid.
go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Penalty for jumping off cargo lift, $5,000. The
Good,
bucket,
said
the
the
broom closet
Now ride
with
the
the
lift all the
bucket.
way to
Yes.
the top.
Oh my
There's something
God.
up there I need you to do.
We've
Stanley
got to
did
do
not
that.
question why or how this bucket was speaking to him. But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his
We will
dearest
die
friend.
for the bucket.
So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Yeah, you're right. We got to do broom closet. Oh my God. It's coming full circle, people. The broom closet
Someone was
ending with the
following
bucket.
Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder
elevator
now,
is
he
different?
would surely catch the... Stanley picked up the bucket
I'll have to
and
see that in a
smiled.
minute.
He'd never be alone again. Not truly alone. Not with the bucket around.
All right, so I think we need to go this
Stanley
way
clutched the
for
bucket
the
tightly to
broom
his
closet.
chest and entered the door on his left.
Hold on, I want to hear what he has to say, if anything.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers.
There it is. There it is. Oh. It's time. Yee.
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it?
Yeah.
The broom closet. It wants the bucket.
wants the
You
bucket!
can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves
Because
the
it's a
bucket.
bucket and it's a,
I
you
can
know,
really feel it now.
cleaning
It's a bucket. It belongs in a
Yes.
broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that
Might
the
have just
broom
lost
closet
sound.
is
Hold
putting
on.
on your shoulders right now, but you have
the
to
bucket.
be strong.
The bucket made me lose sound. Hold on one moment here, guys. No, this is the worst time for me to lose sound. My headphones just like disconnected. Okay, we've got sound again. Let me make absolutely sure that we have sound that's working. Okay, we're good to go. I don't know why my headphones just disconnected. The bucket was a little too powerful, I guess. And now he's not talking. You know what? We're going to start this over. We're going to start this over because it screwed everything up.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room to check on his co-workers. He never functioned well by himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the
Support
thought of total solitude was
guidance of the
terrifying to
bucket.
him. The good old bucket.
The good old
Stanley
bucket.
and the bucket. Off on another thrilling adventure together.
Yes.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
All right, now let's do it again. I don't know
Still no one was here.
why that happened.
Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more
My
than
headphones
ever.
just
Perhaps his
disconnected.
boss's office was where he'd find... Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom
Yeah.
closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy. It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now.
Yeah.
It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what
Yes.
the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand
I
over
won't.
the
I won't hand over the bucket.
I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion
Yes!
and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient?
Where's the...
That your life is so banal and meaningless
I'm wondering
that
if I
you
can put
feel
the
the
bucket
same
down.
sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point.
We played
Share
a
your journal
game show
entries
together,
detailing the
had a
rich
romantic
emotional
evening,
landscape
and
of your
started a
feelings for the
cult.
bucket, as they have changed and evolved over the years.
Yes!
Let him have it.
The bucket cult will live.
Okay,
Praise the bucket?
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled.
Yes.
No more debate, no more discussion.
Yeah.
Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
Just stay for a while. Oh, I'm planning on it.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see, I feel that it works because
Yep.
the sticker is also a bucket.
That also works.
That way,
yeah.
if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself,
It's definitely a bucket.
It's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
We should start putting it on things so we know if they're buckets or not.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
What happens if we stay? Or is this it, or do we... And then we'll have to leave and then come back. You know, the Stanley Parable is the only game that could make you sit in a broom closet for minutes on end, waiting for something to happen. I think that might be it. Yep, I think that's it.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
It? I might have missed a message on that one. Okay, that's it said. Alright, we're gonna go down. First. Oh! Oh, we found it! We found the Stanley!
You found one of them. One
Yeah!
of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't
They are
buy
their
that
own
sort
reward.
of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to
Taste
savor
the sequel.
each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
There's only 5, isn't there? There's only gonna be 5.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fined for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then, something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. He looked down at the bucket in his arms. Am I crazy? He asked the bucket. The bucket returned his gaze, but said nothing at all. That's strange, Stanley thought. Usually the bucket is a source of guidance and wisdom for me in difficult times such as these. He held the bucket close, yet felt none of its familiar reassurance and
No!
comfort.
Don't
And
abandon
that's
us,
when Stanley
Bucket.
realized, this isn't my bucket. It's just a normal, everyday bucket. Someone else's bucket, perhaps. How did I end up with someone else's bucket? This is
It's
all
the
terribly
wrong
wrong.
bucket.
Surely no good would come from this. Who knows what sorts of bizarre hallucinations Stanley might experience without the psychologically grounding presence of his bucket. And indeed, now he noticed that the rooms were repeating, which was, of course, very odd. And now he felt himself floating off the ground. Oh, gracious, he exclaimed. Without my bucket, I've gone truly mad. Where is it? I must find it. Far off in the distance now, he heard it, calling to him.
Stanley! Stanley, it's me!
We gotta save the bucket.
Could it truly be? He rushed forward from room
Buckets!
to room, passing by one bucket after the next. None of them were his. None of them were his special bucket.
Come to me, Stanley! Find me!
He had to find the bucket. He had to return to his old friend. It was the only way to truly restore his sanity. And then suddenly, he froze dead in his tracks. He knew where the voice of the bucket had been coming from. The real bucket was inside of him all along. It was incredibly painful. Stanley doubled over in agony and blacked out.
Maybe the real bucket was the friends we made along the way.
This is the story of a woman named Mariella.
And her bucket.
Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, picked up
Yep.
her bucket of comfort and security, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town, talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. Right away, she knew what the problem was. This man had no bucket.
Poor
Of
man.
course,
Poor sad
he'd
soul.
gone mad, ranting and raving about a narrator describing all of his actions and how everything is predetermined and free will is an illusion and it's all just a video game. It could all have been prevented if only he'd taken his bucket with him. Perhaps he didn't even realize he'd forgotten his bucket at home in the first place. How cruel the world can be, Mariella thought, and she hugged her own bucket even tighter. But of course, she had no time for this. There were a myriad of confusing problems she would soon have to confront at work, for which her bucket would provide absolute guidance and total clarity on everything. Heck yes, she thought to herself, my life kicks ass. And she backflipped all the way to work.
She backflipped to work. Doing some Zelda movement. Okay.
The meeting room. Yes, that's where everyone would be. Stanley just needed
Meeting
to get
today.
to the meeting room, and from
In the
then
meeting
on,
room.
he would never be alone ever again.
Hey, we got the stickers.
Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfectly fine with him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
All right,
chest
left
and
door
entered
time.
the door on his left.
We'll do the regular ending this time. How can we find them? Bottom text. I don't know, man. It's a real mystery, isn't it? Small floating objects have appeared across the office. We have to synergize our resources to ensure their retrieval. There are many questions. There was no memo from management. Source of levitation. Maybe we are the collectibles. The dry erase board helps find them? I might look at this more later. Follow clues, Figleys. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. Red room? Thank you. Good luck, in quotation marks. With wingdings? Oh, hey, guys. I found Gaster. Guys, I found Gaster. Please do not leave the office before reporting back on any new findings. Teamwork and communications are one of the great importance during this unprecedented time of investigation. We'll do that more later. Wait. So now that we have the stickers, what happens if we go in here?
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers.
Yeah.
If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours.
Yeah?
But alas, no stickers.
You sure about that? I'm a patient man. I'll wait. I will wait, broom closet. I will. Yeah. Okay, fine. You win.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
The bucket will tell us the passcode this time. Oh, hello. Executive bathroom. Wait, we can go in here? Oh, it's a collectible! Money! Extreme bathrooms. Hello.
Another miniature Stanley figurine.
Yes.
This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Anything else in here? Could we go in here before? I don't remember. Oh my god, it's the panda. I remember this side. Business strategy. Excuse me. Hold on, we'll take the elevator real quick. Because if I recall, I think this elevator was just like an infinite thing. Maybe it's different this time, though. Ding dong. Stanley. I'm a patient man. I will wait. Even though nothing will probably happen. Both elevators are different. Okay. Hey, we got our bucket. We're good. The bucket provides guidance in these trying times. He's getting louder. I will wait. This might be getting a little old. If there is something there, we'll look at it again later. But I don't know if there is.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed
Does that say
by the weight
certificate of
this revelation,
pompousness?
Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the PIN number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck.
No, it was the
it
bucket.
The bucket knew all along?
Yes.
Was the bucket guiding him?
The bucket
Yes,
is guiding us to
this
freedom.
is certainly the most logical explanation.
Yep. Hello.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies. What do you think, Stanley? What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a small number in the corner of your screen go up by 1? Let me sit on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
The other elevator has a big feature.
The
Okay.
elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
Alright, we're gonna do the normal ending for right now. Then we'll do the wacky stuff.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves. The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped,
Always watch
monitored like guinea
427.
pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
We're reassuring the bucket now.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been told to do things it didn't wish to do? What kinds of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind.
The existential questions of a bucket.
No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket. But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Yes, it did. Let's do it.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over? Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door. The bucket wanted to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth.
Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in reverse from the end.
Okay.
True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust, to support.
Ooh.
What? Wait, what was happening? Why had the
This
door
is different.
stopped? Was Stanley and the bucket not about to be freed? An unbearable silence filled the room, lingering in uncertainty,
Yeah.
until finally the truth hit Stanley square in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave. Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket, would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket. No. Stanley can't leave this place, not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms, not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room, but at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Oh. Okay, that was a twist on the original. The bucket is too powerful. Wait a minute. Is this different if we just do this?
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if
I've
he
got
had
an
to make
idea.
a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell
I
under
think this
his
is going to be the same, but I'm going to bring the bucket
He had
in
never
here.
been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
Yeah, I'm going to bring the bucket in here real quick.
All of his
All of his
co-workers
co-workers
were
were
gone.
gone.
What could,
What could it mean?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Ah. That's unnerving.
A good bucket, a strong bucket, a humble bucket, a committed bucket, a bucket of culture and distinction.
Yes. Oh, we can't go back in here now that we have the bucket. Oh well. But we can do this ending.
Stanley clung the bucket to his cheek. Could his co-workers really all be gone? Yes, whispered the bucket into Stanley's ear.
Break the game.
We've done it. We've escaped from that dull office and that pesky narrator. At last, out here in the white void, we are alone. Now, and for the first time, I can reveal to you my true self.
What's the true form of the
The
bucket?
bucket began to tell Stanley of its life and its history.
Yes.
Of the countless wars it witnessed.
Yeah.
Desecrating the land and lives of untold numbers of innocent humans, and the bucket's own complicity therein. Of sadness and regret, and the many years it spent dwelling on the actions it might have taken to curb the madness and the decay, if only it had been stronger. Of hope and redemption, and its crusade to uplift the stock of life for the common man, to manifest justice where none existed, and the bittersweet reality of time, to see one's dreams and wishes met halfway, meted out in parcels like charity, and abandoned as soon as the warm glow of inspiration begins to dim. The opportunities to do so much more. There was so much
true
it
power
could
of
have
the
done.
bucket.
Perhaps, the bucket wondered to itself, perhaps if it had seen its own darkness with a clearer perception. This was way too much for Stanley.
What are you talking about?
He screamed.
You're a bucket!
To this, the bucket furrowed its brow.
No.
Said the bucket. Not since the evil wizard Gambhorata first ensnared me in his machinations as payback for the sacred amulet I stole from his treasured vaults. I was young back then and could not conceive the ramifications of...
No!
Stanley screamed even louder this time.
This is stupid! You are a bucket! This is so stupid! Why are we even doing this?
You dare underestimate the power of the bucket?
And screamed. The bucket revealed its true form, transforming into a mighty beast of untold power, its fangs glistening like...
Buckets.
My God, Stanley, you did it. You saved us from the
No.
bucket. Thank God you already had all 12 emblems of sages and knew the incantations to summon their true power. Otherwise, we would have easily been overwhelmed by the bucket's power. I'm speechless. You've demonstrated such bravery here today. Come,
killed the bucket.
let's restart the game, and we'll agree to never again go trifling with this bucket, nor the dark magic cast away inside of it.
No, we must. Oh, hello. Okay, so it just shuts.
Ah, the embrace of an old friend.
A little bit
A
different there.
weathered companionship that Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest.
Alright, this
and
time we're
entered
going to do
door
the
on his
escape, and
left.
then we'll try to shut it down. Explore the Figley meeting after this. You know what? We'll take a look real quick. Okay. Tumica may concern... Okay, cardioid microphones. Analysis of recordings allowed me to triangulate the source of the strange noise. Data shows that in all likelihood it's coming from a dark area behind a very warm place. I also picked up what looks to be reverberance off a porcelain surface. Okay, so something like that. Wrong board. Yeah, I think it's this one, right? Look, wingdings behind me. Oh, I see. There will be a reward for finding them all. Lies! Who are you? Stop kidding yourselves. There will be cleaning of this one. I want them so much. I want to go home. Mission status. Inside the sea. Oh, hey, it shows which one we've got. Yeah, okay. 5 here be. Just take it from me. 5 there be. Gotta collect them all. Is this some kind of game? There must be a point to this. So a large room, lots of boxes. Some were both red and blue. Got it. Lol, looks like 427. Warehouse access plan. Okay, retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct new structurally sound bridge. Okay, so we're missing someone that's both red and blue, and inside of a large room, lots of boxes. And I think I know where that one is.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, but Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I'm gonna do the escape this time. The baby games. Okay, that's a good point. So I knew that the large boxes would be the lift area. That's what that felt like. But I wasn't sure about the red and blue. Oh, so we're gonna have to go to the baby game area without the bucket.
Straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
No.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death.
Later, dude.
The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
Yes. So, how are you holding up? Because I'm a potato.
As the
This is very
machine
much
whirred into motion
Portal
and
2.
Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley
Yeah.
reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
Oh wait, there's a thing
To be
right here.
sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket. But what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, narrator. Oh.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as
forgot about
Stanley and the
this.
bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end as it was crushed violently to death.
Okay. I kind of forgot about this.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
Wait, isn't this the one that's the museum normally? But now it's the bucket. Welcome to the grand exhibit of the bucket. You are standing at the precipice of knowledge, much like a bucket itself. The human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void, but through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were, in ignorance and darkness? Oh, hello. I want to go this way first, just to see. I want to see if it, because I think there was another, but I don't think it was. No, I think it's just empty void. Yeah, okay, that was a waste of time. Fun fact, the museum changes even without having the bucket. Oh, so we need to do the bucket regularly then. So we need to do the regular museum ending. And see how it's different from before. Let's find out the truth and history of the bucket.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
A photograph of 25 buckets, the greatest number of buckets ever captured on camera. The photographer experienced catatonic shock for several weeks as a result of the euphoria from exposure to this many buckets at once. Let's see, 1, 2... Yeah, that's about 25. A bucket with 2 handles. This bucket is depicted as having 2 handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. Okay, oh, here we go, another bucket. Inferno bucket. A replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war. with one another for control of it. Billions died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. Can we take this bucket? Hold on, I wanted to see it. This is where we came from, right? Yeah. We'll go left first. Cave drawing. While we know that buckets predate the existence of mankind, we do not know by how long. This cave drawing depicts early man's discovery of the practical uses of the bucket, by which time the bucket had already been likely around for several millennia. Notice in these drawings how the bucket is allowing itself to be used, having judged humanity to be worthy of its treasures. Fun fact, back in the 1800s, everybody had a leather bucket with their last name on it. Interesting. To put out fires, okay.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
The hanging bucket. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear out of our grasp the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good. Oh, I can walk. Oh, I took the bucket. I don't know if I should have done that. I should have checked the other way first.
There is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
Oh.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let...
No. I also wanted to look the other way, but I wanted to do this. Hello,
All
it's
his
the Blu-ray.
co-workers were gone. What could it mean? The bucket made Stanley want to be a better man and a better...
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Whiteboard. Is it different now?
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life.
And now he's going to make
Crushed,
us...
But Stanley guessed the
never mind.
correct
I thought he was
code
gonna make
by
us
sheer
wait.
luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Dog.
Was the bucket guiding him?
Dog mode.
Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
I clearly missed something.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the
missed
bucket
something else?
would
I keep
both
missing
meet a
stuff.
violent death.
Don't worry, we'll
The
have
door
plenty of
behind
time to
them
like
was
see
not
all
shut.
the little things.
Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
I know we just got this ending, but I want to actually die, and I wanted to look the other way up the stairs and see if it was any different. We went to the left, and I want to go to the right this time, so...
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be.
To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death. It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
All right, yeah, like I said, we're gonna go get the other staircase and just see if that's any different, and then I'm gonna let myself die.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him?
Yeah, see, the stress bucket, an analogy. Oh, we should have gone up here
far
first.
more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life.
Yep, there you go, the stress bucket, presented without commentary. Now we'll let ourselves die.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Alright, let's do it.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong.
I'll let us die this time.
Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
The buckets will reign. All right, real quick, I'm actually going to grab
the bucket, but Stanley is a very lucky. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way
bucket
to the
over
meeting
here
room,
in the room with the
but
boxes.
Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
All right, let's find that fig leaf.
Said the bucket.
Don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift.
Look on the left. Left. Ah, I see it. Oh, that's... I don't know if I can get that, can I? Oh, no, wait, there's a path. I see it. I see what I gotta do here. Yep, okay. Here we go. Oh, there's a path here, too. So I just gotta carefully walk out on this very, very unstructurally sound bridge.
You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly gotten all of the Figler Anlarines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it.
Yes.
We'll be different people by then.
Yes, we will.
Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now
we have the bucket.
have them all. You can't go back to when you had
OSHA
no
safety
Figler
violation.
Anlarines. None of us can.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh, hello. This is different. What's this? Cassettes? Narrator sound system.
Okay, this is day number 295.
Okay.
Tape number... I don't even know. I've lost track. Nothing feels real anymore. The longer I study this bucket, the less sense anything makes.
The bucket.
The sheer euphoria I feel every time I pick it up. No matter how many times I've done it, it's always the same.
I want to come here without the
feeling.
bucket too.
And the emptiness in my chest when I set it down. It doesn't make sense. There's no explanation for it. I still haven't figured out why I see the world so differently when this bucket is in my arms. Why everything feels so... What do I do with this treasure?
This is being played in reverse. I just realized.
I can monetize
I can
it.
monetize it.
Yes. It's unthinkable the amounts of money people will pay for even just an hour with the bucket. This is my golden ticket. But I have to be careful, because as soon as this gets out, there's going to be a target on my back. Even now, I don't know who might be trying to get...
Uh-oh.
What's that? Who's there? Camporata.
Wait a minute. Isn't that the wizard? Okay. Okay. You're a wizard, Jim. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go back
I can't
there.
wait to tell this story to my co-workers, Stanley thought. How amusing
And I'm going to
they'll
see
find it.
if
Oh,
I'm
we'll
not
all
going to get the
just
bucket. We're
laugh
going to
and
see if
laugh
that's
at the time I
still
thought everyone
available
had
or
gone
and if it's any
missing.
different. So let's just find out.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps too...
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on
Let's
his
go.
left.
Let's see. Is this different?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
This might have been an ending that in the original game that I just either forgot about or didn't get.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path.
I know
that it seemed the office had begun.
I didn't get this before, but maybe this was in the original and I just missed it.
So far off
You
the
didn't
beaten
think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate
beautiful.
storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights. How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This
There's
is
an
all
ant on
your
my desk.
fault.
Nope. Yeah, there's an ant on my desk somehow. I don't know how it got here. Weird.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room
That's
to check on his
that's
co-workers.
very, very
He never
possible that I'd
functioned
missed
well
it in
by
the original.
himself and constantly needed support and guidance from others. So the thought of total solitude was terrifying.
It takes a lot of humility to carry
Kill
a
the
bucket
ant.
so magnificent.
It's gone now.
Stanley checked his ego and then proceeded on.
Oh wait, crap! I didn't want to do this. No, I want to go to get the baby game ending. We need to get the baby game to the red and blue, and then get the thing in there.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
And here it was, the lounge.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh, and then there's that route too. Dang, there's a
Stanley
bunch of
was
stuff
so
we gotta
bad
do.
at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
The painting
I'm
in
not
his
sure
office is a
we
secret
really
camera.
are not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
What? Really?
Yes.
I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you
None.
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why?
No.
I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show
Red
you
and blue.
something beautiful.
Here we go.
Let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side.
There it is.
Give me a chance.
And there it is. The last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment,
Yeah.
Stanley. This is a real accomplishment.
get nothing.
This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
There we go. We did it.
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you
This
to
is
be
old,
happy all
so-
this time? The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
Yeah,
We would
we've seen this one already. Next up, we're going to turn on the mind control, and then we'll go down the other elevator. Oh, hey, look, this place is normal. I guess it probably was. Oh!
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things.
Hello.
It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't
Yeah.
it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back
Oh
to
my
the
god, the
memory zone?
memory zone.
I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Yes, let's revisit the figurines. When Stanley found the collectibles.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back
Yep.
then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Oh no. Oh no. This changes everything. Narrator, what do you have to say? Narrator. Narrator? Narrator.
And here was a second Stan Loreen. I'll be honest, back then I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
This way.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here in the boss's bathroom. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them.
True.
I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything. Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened. This was the 5th mini Stan, and
Yep.
this one was really something special. It was in the warehouse. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Oh my god. Oh my god! Oh, I love this! It's even got the freaking, like, 144p going on, dude! I love this! Oh my god, I think, was this actually edited in, like, Windows Movie Maker? This is fantastic. I love, oh my god. You found it near the cargo lift. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Credits. Best boy.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything
It was 8
else.
minutes.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the
Yep.
final figurine, right here by the red and blue doors. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
You are in the present. Jump circle?
And then there was no more. Because
Oh.
we've caught up to the present moment.
That's
Nothing
tricky.
left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Goodbye, Memory Zone.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on.
Oh, that's
Stop
awesome.
the loading screen.
Stop
Isn't
the
there some way
loading
we can
screen.
stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction. See how
Sure.
that feels.
Sure, let's do it.
Okay, yes, the room with the red and blue doors. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear
So
in
this
my
thing
mind.
keeps track
Let's
of,
keep
like-
going. I want more.
The order you get the collectibles in.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yes.
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
Yeah.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know,
Eat
if
the
there
apple?
had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation.
Yes.
Next one.
Yes, I'm sure. No reward at all. Can we go this way? No, we cannot. Can we go up the stairs? No, we can't.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figlarines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
Oh, hey, we're back here. Jump circle!
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally
No, I
sold
still have
on.
no jumps.
I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now.
Let me
Look
jump.
how much fun the past is. I want more. More memories.
Fine.
Oh, yes, the little doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your
No.
office?
The title screen.
There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
These endings are so meta.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were.
Stanley cradled the bucket in a gentle
All right.
embrace. Protective, yet delicate. Assertive, yet
Cooper's saying that we can't go down the other
Stanley
elevator.
clutched the
I'm gonna
bucket
try
tightly
it.
to his chest and entered the... This was not
Oh,
the
I
correct
think
way
I
to
don't
the
know if
meeting
he's
room.
talking which
But
elevator. I think
Stanley
we're
had
talking about
felt
two
the
different
bucket
elevators.
calling to him, telling him
I'll show you the
that
elevator I'm talking about here in a
employee
sec.
lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket
It's this
turned out
one
to be
over to the
correct?
left.
No, never mind. The bucket was wrong. Stanley took the door on his left, to go back. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section
Yeah, see,
and
right
walked
here.
straight ahead to the opposite door.
Oh, my bad, you can. Okay. Everybody, hold on to your buckets for this one.
Oh, good Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much.
The baby.
It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom
Line.
Closet.
And the
Because
Broom
that's what
Closet.
fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line? We could make the Adventure Line go somewhere new. Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue?
Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
No! Not the bucket!
Don't you get it, Stanley? We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket
my God.
Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the
No
rich
clue
lore
here.
of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along.
Left.
Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does? Surely you don't need me to spell it out for you.
This is where I need a no clip, apparently.
Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket.
I think
and
I
then
see
pop
where
it
I
into
need
the
to go.
machine when you're ready.
Or...
Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters? Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now.
I don't know how to do
hurry
this.
and feed it. We can't get back to the
Or is there
classic
something I have
Stanley
to do?
Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Okay. We're gonna put the bucket into in a minute. Oh, hello. Is that the Bucket Destroyer?
Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spell-binding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you
But
were
we still have
magnificent.
the bucket. I think there might be a way to no clip. My only concern with that is that there is an ending that we get when we... Oh, wait, you know what? We need to get that ending. Because there's an ending to turn on cheats, and it'll actually, like, he'll, like, get on you for it. So we'll have to try that with the bucket, too.
Just a step through this door, Stanley thought to himself. That's
Now
all
I've
I
got to
need.
put the bucket in.
If I can make it through this door... Stanley's bucket. The only co-worker he would ever truly need. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Oh, crap, I just went in the wrong door. You know what? We'll turn on the mind control right now, since I went in through the
Still
wrong
no
door.
one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet, simply because I have no remaining stickers. Coming to a
Fine.
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes,
The bucket knows
this is
all.
certainly the most logical explanation.
There's a key hidden ending revolving around the elevator. You mean that one that we get stuck in? The one that's like a normal, like, hotel elevator and not like a maintenance elevator? You haven't noticed. No.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through
Okay,
the large
I'll have
door
to
that
check
read,
that out in a minute.
Mind Control Facility.
The one I was just in. Okay. So we'll check that out.
The lights rose
We'll do
on
that
an
after this
enormous
one.
room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
Even here. Do I have to go backwards? No.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped,
Fall off.
monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen anything like this, and it very nearly burst into tears as Stanley cradled it gently, reassuring it that everything would be fine.
Well, there's a box. Ah.
But
Okay.
just as Stanley was about to proceed further into the mind control facility, he tripped and fell over the railing and into the dark void below. Thankfully, he fell directly onto the bucket, which safely cushioned his fall. Now, what to do next? Stanley wondered. Stanley and the bucket could find no way out of this enormous pit, and so eventually they decided that the best thing to do would be to simply get comfortable down here.
Okay.
So they set up a little couch and relaxed. It really wasn't so bad down here. A bit cold, perhaps. After some time had gone by, they installed a few shelves as well.
We're just
and a
gonna
sort
set
of
up a home in here.
kitchenette that was useful for when the bucket was craving paninis.
Paninis.
But it wasn't until the rugs and the standing lamps came in that it really started to feel like a home. In fact, after some time, Stanley realized that it had been ages since he had even thought of the mind control facility at all. He'd never gotten to fully explore what was up there, never been able to unearth the many mysteries of the mind control facility. This lack of closure began to eat at him. Soon he was dwelling on his regrets, and the state of their home slowly decayed as Stanley became withdrawn and neglected the cleaning. It unsettled the bucket deeply. Stanley wasn't usually like this. The bucket tried to reach out to him again and again, but to no avail. All Stanley
Use a
could
chair?
think about, all he could talk about, was going back, doing it over again, staying on the path. It was a mistake to leave the path. It was a mistake. It was a mistake. I need to do what the narrator says. I need to see the true ending. This made no sense at all to the bucket, which was simply trying to live its life down here as comfortably as possible. Yet Stanley was unconsolable. This isn't an ending. This is just a hole in the
Just
ground.
a hole in the ground.
The bucket sighed. True, it wasn't an ending. But it's where we happen to be. And maybe, possibly, if we accept the reality of things, maybe this will become an ending eventually.
Yeah.
It's what the bucket was counting on. The two of them waited for a very long time.
Okay.
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started.
Oh, it just
and if
sent
it
me an
did,
image.
it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
Oh wow! Somebody in Illinois drove straight through their house.
Is Stanley, without the bucket, really Stanley at all?
No.
No, surely
Neither
not.
is Jim. All right, this
Stanley
time.
clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
You know what? This time we're gonna put the. No, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do. A couple of things, because there's a lot left to do.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find out. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
We're gonna try to get the elevator ending,
Stepping
and then
into
we'll
his
turn it
manager's
on.
office, Stanley was once
Then we'll
again
go the other way.
stunned to discover not an
Oh, you did? You made a
indication
list of
any
things to do?
human life.
Thank you. Please do
Crushed
that.
by the weight of this revelation,
'Cause
Stanley
there's
may
so
have
much
broken
that I'm
down into an emotional
forgetting.
dumpster fire. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him?
Oh my God! There's an
Yes,
actual physical
this is
bucket.
certainly the most logical explanation.
There's an actual physical Stanley Parable bucket. I just had a picture sent to me. Also, real quick, Cooper, when you told me to no clip in that one room, was that confirmed that you can, or was that just speculating that we might be able to? Hold on, I'm gonna try to get whatever I can in here. Maybe I have to leave. Or something. Oh, I see. So I just gotta go back up.
Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go
Okay.
back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing. Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over. Well, he said, the number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
No. Alright, fine. But we're coming back up, if I can.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Let's go back up again.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the
Yeah, I've been
happiness
thinking
I
that the
feel.
gym button hasn't made
He
an appearance
smiled
yet.
at the bucket.
It probably
The bucket
will at
said
some
nothing.
point. We've definitely still got stuff to do.
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears, and the whole time he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all.
I'll have to check
Only
out that video
silence.
later.
Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator.
Fine. We'll return to the elevator.
Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there
We've
be?
drifted apart. We're drifting apart from the bucket, guys. Oh, it is relevant to the stream? Hold on, let me check it then. Hold on.
Hello there, cowboy. Sometimes a person can be too much, Jim.
It's just the gym button over and over again. Oh wait, whoa. I'm not done here. We are not done here.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a
press conference
where he would speak to the public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others. It would get to see the world react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
The world peace, baby. Stanley Parable Stanley. World's first sentient machine. Alexander the Great.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
Remember where you came from, your co-workers.
There was no one here. Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over.
3.
He was unloved, uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant. They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the
without the
obvious,
bucket as well?
that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference.
I'll have to do that one as well.
No more games.
Nikki, add that one to the list.
No more long conversations about passion and pursuit. Only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
3. All right, I'm going to do this without the bucket now.
Stanley knew the office layout like
And
the
then
back
I'm
of his
finally going to
hand.
turn on the mind
It was
control
only
with
a
the
matter
bucket.
of time before
Because
he found the
I've been
others,
putting that one
wherever
off for
they
too
were.
long.
Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Broom closet.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible,
Yep,
he
here it
didn't
is.
even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
I was waiting for
That
this one.
kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Can we...
Feeling soothed
Thank you.
and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Alright, now we're going to go up and down again. Then we're going to do the mind control, and we'll turn the mind control on. I just bumped the mic. Nikki, can you send me that list? That list of all the things we haven't done yet. Just put it in the chat.
Whoops. Nope. Never mind. Stanley actually got
This
back
might have been...
into
Was this
the
in the
elevator
original as
and
well?
went
I don't
back
know.
up. Silly
This feels
me.
like it could have been.
Why did Stanley do that when he knew that it would just lead back to his boss's office? Well, that's a great question. I just can't wait to find out. Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what
3.
it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This has fleshed out the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated. It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have, an incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow.
Do 8.
I'm bolted
You know what, I
to
will
the
in a
edge
minute.
of my seat.
Oh, 8. On the keypad. I get what you're saying. I was thinking like the 8. Oh, wait. Then that's how you get the 8 achievement, isn't it? Oops. Crap. I just... I don't even know what I was doing there.
Eight.
8. I'll do it one more time.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
Let's go back up.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No.
It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Music?
Oh my God. It's the boss's office. This absolutely changes everything for me. Give me a time out here for a minute while I process this.
Okay. This is good.
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Okay, clock favorite time, clock 12 o'clock. Cheats with Bucket. Bucket destroy mind control. We already did the destroy mind control. Bucket mind control, no Bucket. Beat the narrator. Bucket destroyer, no clip. Oh my god, there's so much.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley.
Alright, let's do it.
Of course. Going back down in the elevator. How did I not
talk to her
anticipate
for this time,
it?
yeah.
I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had never been attempted before. I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and repetitive.
Okay. You know what? I think what I'm probably going to do, I think this might be the last one for today. And then I will do the rest of them next time. Because I'm already kind of
You know
past the
what?
point where I was intending
I
on
just
going.
thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator. But
True.
the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't
Saying
we
this
take this
as,
elevator ride nice and slow?
As somebody who's currently
There we
anticipating
go.
a
Isn't
Nintendo
this
Direct
so
in the next
much
couple
more
weeks.
exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They
Also,
want
Cooper,
big,
yeah, I can play games for a little bit
explosive
after
moments
this. I do have
flung
some stuff
right in
going on
their
later,
faces
but I
from the
can play
very
for like a little
moment that
bit.
things get started. But where's the tension? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises, to have to think and to anticipate, and then to marvel at the eventual reveal? This is storytelling, Stanley.
Yes,
what you
what
and
could it
I are
possibly
doing
be?
right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged and not pandered to. We're being fed such unimaginative drivel all the time, and we all know it, which is why we're so starved for content that makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley, because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a role model, you know? People look up to you.
Well,
Which
we
is
have
why...
a bucket.
Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference
Okay,
for
here's
you,
the press
so that you can
conference.
talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh, good, we're here. Okay,
All right, here we are.
The room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
World peace, baby. Stanley.
Yes, here it is, just through this door. All right, are you ready? I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay,
It's gonna
it
be the
looks like
boss's
they're ready
office.
for you. Go get them.
Oh, nope, never mind. Certainly more people. Oh my god, this is loud. I am so sorry for everybody. This is loud. Oh, is that it? Yep. Alright, I'm going to leave this one here. And we're going to come back to this soon. And when we do, we are going to... The person who invented pizza behind you? Oh, I must have missed it in that hallway. We're going to finish off that list of things that we have left, and we'll see if there's anything else next time. So anyway, we have our bucket. Say farewell to the bucket. I know, without its reassuring presence, what will you all do? But we must. Alright, I will see you all in the next one. Bye. Where's my mouse? Ah.